So here's something that nobody is going to tell you straight up. There are people out there right now working 40 hours a week, sometimes 50, sometimes more, and they are still broke. And the crazy part is, it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're stupid. It's because there are specific money traps that are designed intentionally and unintentionally to keep low-income people stuck exactly where they are. And the crazier thing is, the fact most people who are stuck in these traps don't even know it. They just think this is what life looks like when you don't make a lot of money. But what if that wasn't true? What if the difference between someone who escapes a low income and someone who stays trapped in it forever comes down to just a few key decisions? It's not luck, not a rich parent, not winning the lottery, just decisions. Stay with me because what I'm about to walk you through right now completely changed how I see money, and it might do the same for you too. So, let's set the scene right here. Many people are earning between $20,000, $25,000, and $30,000 a year. Many people are living paycheck to paycheck, not because they're blowing money on vacations and luxury watches, but because the math just doesn't seem to work out no matter what they do. And this affects more people than you probably think. In the United States alone, nearly 60% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck. That's not just poor people, by the way. That's people with decent jobs. It's people with college degrees. That's people who thought they did everything right. So if you've ever sat down at the end of the month and asked yourself, where did all my money go? This video is for you. If you know someone who seems to be working hard but never getting ahead, share this with them, because what I'm about to say could genuinely change their financial situation. Now let's get into it. First off, this is uncomfortable truth. And I need you to stay with me even if some of this sounds harsh, because the truth about why people stay broke is a little bit hard to hear. The number one reason most low-income people stay low-income is not that they don't make enough money. It's that they don't know where their money is going. Reflect on that. You could hand someone an extra $500 a month right now, and in most cases, 6 months later, they would have nothing to show for it. That's not an insult. It's actually just how human beings work when there's no system in place. Here's the trap. You get paid, bills come out. You buy groceries, you grab lunch a few times, you pick up something on Amazon because it was on sale, you fill up the gas tank, you spend a little on the weekend, and then suddenly it's gone. You genuinely don't know where it went. This is called financial invisibility, and it's one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a person's finances, because you can't fix what you can't see. Now here's what makes this even worse. The entire economy is built to take advantage of this. Every advertisement, every one-click checkout, every buy now, pay later button, all of it is engineered to make spending feel easy and natural and even good. And saving feel hard and boring and like you're missing out. So you've got a system working against you before you even get out of bed in the morning. But wait, it gets worse. The other thing that low-income people deal with, that nobody talks about often, is the debt spiral. And this one is sneaky. Like really sneaky. It starts small. One loan here, one credit card there, maybe a car payment. And at first, it's manageable. You adjust, figure out how to cover it, but then something breaks down. The car needs a repair, a medical bill shows up, your hours get cut at work. Now you need another loan to cover the gap left by the first loan, and it keeps going. This is the debt spiral. And once you're in it, it is incredibly hard to get out of because every payment you're making is money that could have been building your future, but instead it's paying for your past. You're essentially renting your own financial decisions back from a bank at a very high interest rate. And here's the thing that really gets me. People in this situation often feel shame about it, like they made some terrible choices and now they deserve to be stuck. But that's not the full story. Because a lot of these traps were set up long before any of these people arrived on the scene. Now let's talk about the other side of this. Yeah, there's another side to the story. Let me tell you about what actually separates people who break out of low income from people who don't. And here's the spoiler. It's not hustle culture. It's not working 3 jobs. It's not grinding until you have no life left. It's strategy. This is where everything changes. It almost always starts with one decision. The decision to actually look at your money. I know that sounds so simple, it's almost embarrassing. But hear me out. Most people who are struggling financially have never, not once, sat down and written out everything they earn and everything they spend. Not because they're irresponsible, but because it's scary. It's because when you don't look at it, you can tell yourself it's probably fine. Looking at it makes it real. But here's the truth. Until you look at your financial inflow and outflow closely, you can't change it. So here's what to do to change the status quo. You write down your monthly take-home pay. That's the number after taxes, after everything, what actually lands in your bank account. Then you list every single fixed expense you have: rent or mortgage, car payment, insurance, phone bill, internet, subscriptions, any debt payments. Write them all down. Then you list your variable expenses: groceries, gas, eating out, entertainment, shopping, everything you can think of. Now add up the expenses. Subtract them from your income. What's left? For a lot of people, that number is very small or it's negative. And that's the decision moment. That's the moment where either you look away and pretend you didn't see it, or you decide to deal with it. Because once you can see the full picture, something shifts. You stop feeling like money is this mysterious thing that just disappears. You start seeing it as something you can actually control. And that shift, that one mental shift, is where people start getting out of the trap. But there's another turning point that happens for people who really break free. And this one might surprise you. It's the moment they stop buying things they don't need. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "I don't buy unnecessary things, I'm broke," stay with me, because this isn't about luxury items. This is about the small stuff. It's the stuff that's almost invisible. The clothing item you bought because it was on sale, even though you didn't really need it. The kitchen appliance you used twice, and it's been sitting in the cabinet ever since. The streaming service you signed up for and kind of forgot about. The stuff you bought in a moment of impulse that didn't really add anything to your life. Now here's a number that will make you think. If you spend just $15 a day on things you don't really need, and I mean small stuff, coffee, snacks, an app here, a random purchase there, that's $4,500 a year. Every year, that figure is gone. What could you do with $4,500? The 24-hour rule changes everything for this. Before you buy anything that isn't a necessity, wait 24 hours, just one day. Then ask yourself if you still want it. You'll be shocked how many times the answer is no. And this is where we get to the real stuff. The decisions that actually move the needle in a big way. Let's talk about transportation as a case study, because this is the one that quietly destroys people's budgets, and we rarely talk about it in a real and honest way. Transportation is the second largest expense for the average household, second only to housing. And the average car payment in America right now is over $550 a month. That's before gas, before insurance, before maintenance, before parking. So you could easily be spending $800, $900, even $1,000 a month just to have a car and use it. On a low income, that is devastating. That is money that could be building your future, but instead it's keeping you exactly where you are. And here's the trap inside the trap. People feel like they need a new car, or a nice car, because their old one might break down, or because their coworkers have one, or because it feels like a symbol of being okay, of not being poor. But a reliable used car, fully paid for, that you maintain properly, will cost you a fraction of what a financed new car costs. What most people don't realize is, the car payment you're making is not building you anything. The car is losing value every single month. You're paying more and more for something worth less and less. Own a used car. Keep it maintained. Don't upgrade until you can afford to do so without financing. And if you can get away without a car at all, even better. Walking, biking, public transit, these save you an enormous amount of money each month. Of course, this may not be possible depending on where you live. But if it's possible, it's definitely worth considering. Next, let's talk about food. Now this one is personal. Eating out feels good. It's social. It's convenient. It's one of the few luxuries that people on tight budgets allow themselves because it's a small pleasure in a tough situation. And I get that. But let's look at the math honestly. If you spend just $10 a day eating out, which is honestly very modest, that might not even cover lunch. That's $3,650 a year, just on food. You could have made it home for a fraction of that. A week of groceries for one person can be as low as $40 or $50 if you're smart about it. That's potentially $200 a month versus $300 or more eating out. That difference, invested every month for 20 years, becomes a life-changing amount of money. And here's the thing they don't tell you about cooking. When you first start, yeah, it might not taste as good as a restaurant, but skills develop. You get better. You start to enjoy it. Eventually, you're making food that's better than most places you could eat out, and it costs a fraction of the price. Now let's talk about something bigger, because everything we've covered so far, the spending habits, the debt traps, the transportation costs, all of it matters. But there's one thing that if you get this right, changes everything else. Housing. Housing is the single largest expense for most people, rent or mortgage. It eats the biggest chunk of every paycheck. And for people on low incomes, it can be absolutely brutal. But the real mindset shift happens here. What if instead of just paying for housing, you made your housing pay for you? This is called house hacking, and it is one of the most powerful financial strategies that almost no one in lower income brackets ever hears about, because it sounds like something only rich people do. But it's not. Here's how it works. If you rent a place with an extra room, you rent that room out. The money you get from that tenant goes toward your rent. Suddenly, your housing costs drop dramatically, maybe to zero. If you own a property, even a small one, you can rent out a unit, a room, a garage, storage space, a parking spot. People are paying for all of these things on apps like Airbnb, Neighbor, and others. Some people buy a small duplex. They live in one unit and rent out the other. The rent from that other unit covers the mortgage, and they essentially live for free while building equity. This sounds too good to be true, right? But people do it every day. And I mean regular people, not millionaires. And think about what happens to your finances when your biggest expense goes to zero or near zero. Suddenly the math changes completely. Suddenly you have breathing room. Suddenly you can save. Suddenly wealth building actually becomes possible even on a low income. This is the big one. This is the strategy that changes everything. Now let's bring this all together, because I want to leave you with something real and useful, not just a list of things you already kind of knew. Here's the honest truth about money and low income. You don't need to earn 6 figures to build wealth. You don't need to come from money. You don't need a fancy degree or a lucky break. What you need is a system, and the ability to see your situation clearly enough to make better decisions. The people who escape low income, and I've seen this over and over again, are not smarter than everyone else. They're not luckier. They just stopped letting money be invisible. They looked at where it was going. They made intentional choices about debt. They got honest about what they were spending on things they didn't need. They got strategic about transportation and food. Some of them, the ones who really accelerated, figured out how to make their housing work for them instead of against them. None of that requires a big income. It requires attention. It requires some patience. It requires the willingness to do things a little differently than the people around you. And I want you to sit with this. Financial habits are contagious. If everyone around you is spending freely, eating out constantly, financing new cars, taking on debt, it's going to feel weird to do the opposite. People might even make fun of you for it. If you're being cheap, for not going out, for driving an old car, let them. Because 5 years from now, you'll be the one with savings. You'll be the one with options. You'll be the one who isn't panicking every time an unexpected expense shows up. And that's worth more than any car or restaurant meal. There's one more thing I want to say before we wrap up, and this is important. The goal isn't to suffer. The goal isn't to never enjoy anything or squeeze every single penny and live a joyless existence. That's not a life worth living, and it's not sustainable anyway. The goal is balance. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing what your money goes toward instead of just watching it disappear. When you cook most of your meals and spend a little less on eating out, that doesn't mean you never go to a restaurant again. It means when you do, you enjoy it more because it's a choice, not a habit. When you drive a reliable used car instead of financing a new one, that doesn't mean you can never upgrade. It means when you do, you're in a position to do it on your own terms. When you find free or cheap ways to have fun, hiking, having people over, exploring your city, that doesn't mean you can never travel or spend money on experiences. It means you're building the foundation that makes those things possible without stress. This is what a healthy relationship with money actually looks like. It's not deprivation. It's direction. And here's the thing. Once you start building these habits, once you see what's actually possible, even on a low income, something shifts inside you. You stop feeling like money is something that just happens to you. You start feeling like it's something you control. And that shift is everything you need to break free from brokenness. So if you're starting from zero, if you're in debt, if you feel like you're too far behind to ever catch up, I promise you, you are not. The fact that you're watching this, that you're thinking about this stuff, that you're looking for a better way out, that already puts you ahead of where most people are. So take it one step at a time. Start by writing down where your money is going. just that one action. It'll give you the full picture. From there, the rest will be easier. Because the path out of a low income isn't magic. It's just a series of better decisions made consistently over time. And you can do that. Thanks for watching. If you gained value from this video, please subscribe to the channel to help us grow. Like and share this video to whoever you think needs this too. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.